So for this week's meal prep, we're going to start off with the sweet potatoes, and we are going to just simply wash them off, and then we're going to use a fork to poke some holes in it and then bake it in the oven at 425 for about 40 to 45 minutes. So now we're going to get started on the chicken meatballs. So the first thing I'm doing is chopping up some cilantro. And I'm just going to chop it up until it's like pretty fine, and this is like about a third of a cup's worth of cilantro. Now I have some canned Chipotle chili peppers in adobo. These are pretty easy to find. I got mine from Giant. Now depending on your spice tolerance, you can use as little or as much as you would like. So I'm using about 4 of these chilies. In retrospect, I could have used more because I like spice, but yeah, definitely go according to your spice tolerance for this. So I'm just slicing these up and chopping them up so that there are smaller pieces. Really chop it up nicely. Go over it a few times just to make sure that the pieces are nice and small. So now I'm going to grab a bowl, and into that bowl I'm going to place my ground chicken. And now I'm going to take 1 egg, and this is going to be used to help bind the ingredients together. And now I'm going to add in that cilantro, and I'm also going to add those chopped Chipotle chili peppers. Now time for the seasoning. So we're going to be using about a tablespoon of onion powder, a tablespoon of smoked paprika. If you don't have smoked, you can use regular, but I love the smoky flavor that it gives. Then I'm also going to go in with a teaspoon of garlic powder, and then about a teaspoon and a half of salt. Try to do very minimal salt with all of our meal prep cooking to keep the sodium levels down. So now I'm just mixing everything up together until the egg is evenly distributed amongst all the meat, and the cilantro and the Chipotle chili peppers are mixed up nicely. So I'm going to set that aside and kind of let those flavors meld together. And now let's see our sweet potato. So I'm just using a knife to pierce the sweet potato, and I'm not receiving any resistance. It's nice and soft inside, so that means the sweet potato is done. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to peel off the skin. You can let this cool, but I literally have iron fingertips, so I just went right on in. So yep, just peel the skin off of the sweet potatoes just like that. And that is what it's looking like. So now very minimal seasoning here, guys. So I'm using about 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. This is going to give it a very nice natural sweetness. And then I'm going to add in a tablespoon of salt. And to me, just these 2 seasonings in the sweet potatoes are perfect. It's super delicious. The natural sweetness of the sweet potatoes really complements the cinnamon. It's just really good. So now I'm using a fork to mash everything together. I'm using a silicone spatula just to mix everything up nicely, nice and smooth. Now let's move on to our chicken meatballs. Let's make those up. They've been sitting for about like 30 minutes. So I'm using some of this olive oil spray, and I'm spraying it onto my hands to help prevent sticking. And yeah, I'm just using a tablespoon to make sure that all of the meatballs are the same size so they cook evenly. And I'm just rolling them in my hands and placing them on this non-stick mat. If you don't have one of these non-stick mats, make sure you use some non-stick spray. So now I'm also going to use this olive oil spray to spray the meatballs over the meatballs so that they get this nice brown color while they're cooking in the oven. So I'm just going to pop these into the oven at 425 degrees for about 8 minutes. Now we're going to move on to our veggies. So I have a red onion here that I'm just going to slice up, and just you can see how I'm slicing it, but feel free to slice it in any way that you like. Awesome, so we sliced up the onion. So now it's been about 8 minutes and our meatballs are ready. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some of this sugar-free barbecue sauce. I have the sweet and spicy variety, but you can use any variety you like. And I'm just gonna literally dollop a dollop on each of the meatballs and just spread it over each of the meatballs using a spoon. It doesn't have to be perfect at all. And then I'm gonna pop it back into the oven on broil just to let that sauce caramelize on the meatballs, and it comes out really good. So now back to our vegetables. So I am just mixing up some of those fresh, already washed green beans because I like to save some time with the onions. And now I'm spraying some of that olive oil spray on top of the onions and green beans. And then very minimal salt here, guys. Just a quick dash of salt, a quick dash of garlic. I like to just go back and forth across the pan very lightly, and then I'm pretty liberal with the black pepper, so you can go in with that. So at this point the meatballs should be good, so we're gonna take those out of the oven, and that's what they are looking like. Super delicious. Now we're gonna keep the oven on broil actually, and we're gonna pop our green beans in there, and these go pretty quick, so about 4 to 5 minutes for these, but keep an eye on them. Everyone's oven is different. You just want to see some blistering on those green onions and green beans. And now this is an example of how I would plate this up, guys. So we have half a cup of the sweet potatoes here, and I am just using my spatula to kind of spread it out and make it look pretty. Then we're gonna go in with 1 cup of those green beans and onions. And then finally we have our 4 ounces of chicken meatballs. I've pre-weighed this out, and for my meatballs I get about 5 of them. Make sure you weigh yours out so you're having the right portion size. And that's it, guys. Super delicious. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know what you think. Tag me on Instagram or Facebook.